Welcome to Fintech Impact. I'm your host, Jason Pereira. Today on the show, I have Gary Fooks, CEO and co-founder of 8Twelve Mortgages. 8Twelve Mortgages is a mortgage broker that has basically been digitally reinventing itself to create a better collaboration experience between advisors and their clients. Between advisors and do that from 8Twelve again. 8Twelve Mortgages is a mortgage broker that's been reinventing itself digitally to create better experiences between the advisors who send them business and their mortgage brokers and consumers. And with that, here's my interview with Gary. Gary, thanks for taking time today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jason. I appreciate it.
Pleasure. So Gary Fooks of 8Twelve Mortgages, tell us about 8Twelve Mortgages.
Yeah, think of 8Twelve as your one-stop mortgage shop. It's like your Amazon for the mortgage world space, using a lot of digital innovation to create better efficiencies between the advisors, the clients, and all stakeholders in the mortgage process.
All right, we'll dive into what that means, but we'll come back to it. So tell me what inspired the start of this.
I spent over 2+ decades helping sales organizations scale through global outsourcing and the use of technology to create a lot of efficiencies. I came across the mortgage space end of 2014. I was blown away with how antiquated it was, and I wanted to use a lot of my background and experience to be able to disrupt the space and provide a better user experience for everybody in it.
Excellent. Okay. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about basically how you went about doing that. You saw what was likely a highly antiquated system that involved a lot of paper, maybe DocuSign if you were lucky, and said there had to be a better way. Where did you start when you discovered this problem?
Yeah, great question, Jason. So I've always been a big believer that for myself personally, if I'm going to open a bakery, I need to know how to make the bread. I don't want to rely on anybody else to get feedback from. I have to jump in, roll up my sleeves, get my hands dirty, and understand the process from the inside moving out. And that's exactly what I did. So I got licensed, used a lot of my past experience to generate opportunities, and literally hit the ground running, sitting at kitchen tables with clients, with Canadian families, underwriting their mortgage files. And every time I would do that, if I could build in a little efficiency, I can build in a little workflow, a little bit of automation to make their experience faster, to make it more effective, that's literally what I did. And over the first 3 years of going from 0 to 100 million a year in mortgage volume growth, probably implemented about 300 different efficiencies and workflows to speed up that process for everybody in the game.
Excellent. Okay. All right. Let's look at this from the user journey, right? So let's talk about the experience from the consumer standpoint first, and then we'll move on to other stakeholders.
Yeah. So look, most consumers are used to dealing with a big bank, right? Big banks are great, but things move very slowly. And a lot of them will say to me that they feel like they're in a black hole. They submit a bunch of information. They're waiting weeks to get a response. They're calling, they're leaving voicemails, they're sending emails that are going unanswered for sometimes weeks as well. And when you're doing your mortgage, for most Canadian families, their mortgage is their biggest financial transaction. Without being in the know and just thinking that you don't know if it's going to go through or not, you have no confidence, no trust, it creates a very poor journey for that customer. For me, the journey was keeping them in the know, being proactive, make sure that they were aware at every stage of the game. It's no different today than when we order Uber or when we order Skip the Dishes. We do this because we love that little gratification of it's on its way. It's going to be here in 5 minutes. It's at your doorstep. And that was really the idea of how I wanted to build out the mortgage process for Canadian consumers.
Excellent. Okay. So basically giving them greater transparency, understanding where they are, for lack of a better term, I can see where my pizza is when it's getting delivered. But so many things in the world that are more important, I have no idea where they stand. And it always leads to constantly emails of, where am I on this? How are we on this? And communication breakdowns are one of the top reasons people get upset with experiences. So it makes sense. All right. So let's move on to the person who's doing the heavy lifting. Let's move on to the mortgage broker. So what is it? How is it different for the mortgage broker?
Yeah. So again, today, if the mortgage broker is not living through technology, their entire process is manual. It lives in email. It's very slow. And what that does is slows down the journey. It slows down the experience for the customer, and it's inefficient, right? So you're doing a lot of chasing versus being able to be notified in real time. And what could be on average a 20-hour process could be cut down to 5 or 6 hours, ends up being 20 or more. Using technology and speeding up the process really will make you more effective. It'll also increase your processing power. And what I find for a lot of mortgage brokers is that they're either going to take that extra 50, 60% of time and maybe apply it to their work-life balance and have more personal time at home, or others will take that time and want to double, triple their business. So either way, you're in a win situation.
Excellent. All right. And then lastly, you basically circle in the advisor on this, right? The source of the referral. So talk to me about what their experience looks like.
Sure. So I've always taken the approach of thinking of mortgages as a holistic approach for the consumer. And obviously, the advisor is the lead point on their financial plan. So keeping the advisor in the know for me is you have to do it. It's mandatory. Again, you want to make sure that you're the extension of the advisor. So what we do here is right from the beginning, the advisor is being notified of what's happening in real time as we're taking their client through their customer journey. Advisors spend a lot of time, energy, effort, and money to build trust with their clients. And not only build trust, but build trust with one of the most important things in their life outside their family and their health is their financial situation. And then asking anybody, whether it's an independent mortgage broker, whether it's somebody in the bank, to hand over that trust, that asset to them, that's a big ask. So how do we keep the advisors notified proactively so they can be involved in the process and make sure that they know the information up to date just as quickly, if not quicker, than their clients do? Again, it just creates a better experience for everybody. And to make sure that we're aligning the objectives of the client to the financial advisor's plan, right? So if there's anything that happens along the way that deviates from that, we get ahead of it. We make sure we put it back on the right path. And again, leading to that successful journey at the end.
Excellent. Okay. So walk me through the efficiencies and how they paid out. I think as an advisor who basically makes a referral out, it's going out and I maybe get stuff back, email communications I'm copied on, but I don't have one place to look. Like you've solved for that. So that's a huge value proposition from the advisor's standpoint. But walk me through like how the efficiencies are paid off. What did the normal journey look like in terms of time, effort, and turnaround time for the mortgage broker and consumer perspective versus what you've done now?
Yeah. So today's world, the advisor is sending some sort of email to a potential mortgage broker, then has to acknowledge it, then has to reach out to the client. They have a discussion, and they usually email something back to the advisor, giving a synopsis of what's happened. And assuming there's an opportunity there, they then start working with the mortgage client. And then over time, if they're savvy enough and if they're proactive enough, they will be sending some emails back and forth to the advisor, keeping him in the know. Well, think about a solution and a platform where that's all done in one place, right? Advisors submitting the information, they're getting real-time updates. As we work with the client's getting real-time updates. The request for documentation and financial information that a lot of times the advisor has can also then be provided to the mortgage broker with the client's consent from an automated process, from an API process, again, in a secure environment rather than living through email, which we see today what's happening with fraud, et cetera. It's consistent, it's effective, it's quicker, and it's in a secure one-stop shop.
Excellent. All right. Security being a big aspect of this we didn't get into. You came from other areas where you basically helped with stuff like this. Talk to me about the foundational steps, because there's a lot of data involved in transacting all this. Like, how are you managing those flows? What systems are you tying in other systems and doing integrations? How is this working?
Yeah. So it's all of the above. So obviously we have over 300 internal workflows with our proprietary platform that we've built. It's a full deal to end submission platform. So right from getting that initial opportunity, right through all the way through funding and finalizing that mortgage compliance and sending flowers to the customer's door to say thank you. It's all done in one place. And then we integrate other stakeholders into the platform. So think about that mortgage journey. You're going to need an appraisal. Well, we'll integrate the appraiser so we can order the appraiser right from the platform. You're going to have a lawyer involved in the process. Today's world, most people are sending an email to the lawyer and possibly putting the IDs in there, which, again, we want to avoid. Well, with our platform, we're building the integration where you push a button, it opens a file at the lawyer's office electronically, again, in a secure environment. That lawyer's office can then take the client through their own digital journey, and then we're getting updates back in real time so we know what's happening throughout the process. So it's a lot of integrations and a lot of automation from within the system itself, again, throughout that entire journey right until the mortgage funds.
All right. Talk to me about feedback. What are you getting in return from clients, from, again, all the stakeholders, not just the advisors, but also the evaluators, everyone else you're touching upon?
Yeah, I think the general feedback is that people are blown away in a very positive way. They're not used to this level of service when it comes to the mortgage. They've seen it obviously in other platforms, but not in the mortgage space. So you got clients that are just super thrilled that we've eliminated a lot of their pain points, not being in the know, not knowing what's going on, especially that confidence where it's coming up to closing. Am I going to get this deal funded? Am I going to actually be able to close on my property? That's been the biggest stress. So keeping them updated and removing that stress has been huge, and they love it. And I think our Google stars will speak to that, right? Same thing with the advisor. Look, you've made me look good to my client, and that's all I can really ask. And that's really what it's all about, to be successful in this space and to be able to grow your business, especially in the financial advisor world, you need good stakeholders. You need good partners that can be an extension of you and provide that same level of service. And when you do that, it makes people want to do repeat business with you. And that's really the goal at the end of the day. Do the right thing. All the success that comes with it will follow.
Excellent. Do you have any benchmarks on like turnaround time? Like, how have you been able to see how much this has cut into what the turnaround of any application would look like?
Yeah. So again, I've done the math many times. A typical application from start to finish, if you actually track hours spent, on average, will be about 20 hours. We can cut that down into about 5 or 6 through all the efficiencies and the technology that we've built in and implemented.
That's substantial. Down to 30% roughly. Like, that's nuts.
Yeah, it's quite effective.
So talk about the business model. Is this solely to your brokerage? Is he just trying to build out a digital-led brokerage with this, or are you marketing this technology elsewhere?
Yeah, no, you're on point, Jason, as usual. So we are building a digital edge brokerage, right? That's our secret sauce. That's our special ads. We're not looking to license it out. People want to take advantage of this disruptive innovation. Then they're going to have to join the brand and be part of the brokerage and have all the benefits of not just the technology, but obviously all the other products that we deal with. And we're across the country, pretty much every lender. So if you want to fast track your game, then we'd be a great place for someone in the mortgage broker world to join.
All right. And how long have you been at this now?
So I'm on a decade now. So spent 20 plus years building technologies and spent the last decade refining them within the mortgage space.
Okay, but if we're talking about a decade now, we're not talking about the same tech stack today that it was 10 years ago. How has this evolved over time?
Oh, yeah, absolutely not. Yeah, great question. So actually, when I started with Salesforce, right? Basic CRM, opportunities, contacts, etc. Then I evolved into Zoho. Yeah. And then I evolved into Zoho, which is another great stack. Jason, I'm not exaggerating, I probably spent over $1 million customizing Zoho to make my business more efficient. And then I kept running into limitations, right? Whether it was a number of fields or characters. And when you don't own your own technology, it's natural. There's going to be some sort of limitation, and decided to embark on the journey of building my own using all the experiences with these other amazing CRMs, and started that process 4 years ago. So lifted all the things that we built and tried to integrate it into our own tech stack. So we're now 4 years deep into our own proprietary technology. And with everything that's happening in the world today of AI and ML and going faster and being more effective, we're at the front lines of that. We should get to a point in the near future where we should be calling clients saying there's a better opportunity for you today, even if you break your mortgage, even if you pay a penalty, than them usually having to reach out to us. So it should be a proactive approach rather than a reactive approach. And we're very close to that.
All right, so let's talk about that. This is where you are today. Where do you see this evolving to? You just already basically talked about making it a proactive approach. Where beyond that, what do you see?
Yeah, I think of a client's entire financial profile no different than their entire central nervous system. As certain things change within their body, other things step in to regulate it. So in my vision, in our future, and hopefully we get there sooner than later, as open banking opens up, we should be integrated with the entire financial situation, their insurance, their investments, their mortgage, their lines of credit, their loans, their leases. Everything should be tied in and communicating to each other in real time. So as something in their financial profile changes, just like in the body, something else should then happen or trigger an event to regulate it, to make sure it's back on track, again, to meet their financial goals and dreams. And that's what we're working towards.
All right. Okay. So basically, you've been very efficient with your time and gotten through a lot of it pretty quickly. You talk quickly like I do, so that makes for a shorter podcast. But we're going to wrap it up with 3 questions that I ask everybody on a positive note. First one for you is, if you had one wish for something to change in your company or the industry as a whole, what would it be?
Increase in open banking.
Sorry, I laugh because
I know why you're laughing.
Oh man, don't make me.
You said one wish. That was my wish.
Oh yeah, you may as well wish for unicorns as well while you're at it. Because honestly,
that was my second wish. So maybe I'll wish for that instead.
Unicorns. I have more faith in the genetic engineering of unicorns than I do in Canadian open banking.
Hey, a guy can dream, can't he?
Oh, a guy has to dream for that to be even a possibility. Yeah. It's just bad. For those of you who don't know what I'm getting at, go back and listen to my series on open banking around the world. And it's utterly depressing. And then when you realize just how little has happened since then, it's even more depressing. And if you want to just try to use a data aggregation tool like a Monarch or anything like that, Mint.com is shutting down, and see what kind of shenanigans the banks still pull with your own data at this point in time. It's just remarkable that we put up with this crap. Yeah. Anyway, so you made me depressed.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. Open banking is one of my trigger words, man. What can I tell you? All right. So that said, basically, the next question is, what's been the biggest challenge in the company to where it is today?
Finding the right people. Finding the right people. We're very particular on the type of people we're looking for, the culture that we've built. And that's been the biggest challenge. It's finding the right people and making people aware of who we are and what we do. I think that's the other thing is because we're innovative and because we've been disruptive, a lot of people don't know about us. A lot of financial advisory firms don't know about us. They don't know these types of opportunities exist. Finding the right people and making awareness is probably the next one that I would think about.
Fair enough. Okay, good. And then the last question I have for you is basically what excites you about what it is you're working on and keeps you getting out of bed in the morning to keep on fighting the good fight?
I love coming into work, and I almost don't call it work because I love what I do. I love coming into work and helping empower other people, whether it's our staff and helping empower their goals and dreams, whether it's that Canadian consumer who now, after working with us, didn't realize they can own their first home in Canada. So it's changing people's lives for the better is the reason I get out of bed every day. And that's what gives me personal fulfillment. And if I can continue to do that, then I'm here forever.
Excellent. Gary, thank you for taking the time that we zoomed through, because you, like I said, you talked about as fast as I do, and we got through it quickly. But basically, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can visit us at 8twelve.mortgage. So that's the number 8, the word 12, and .mortgage is the ending. From day one, we chose that to replace the .com or .ca. So please reach out. Happy to have any kind of discussions that we can help in any way.
Excellent. Cool. So that was today's episode of Fintech Impact. Hopefully you enjoyed that and managed to, if you had a hard time following, just turn down the speed on the podcast. It's fine. As always, if you enjoyed this podcast, please review on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, take care.
This podcast was brought to you by Woodgate Financial, an award-winning financial planning firm catering to high net worth individuals and their families. To learn more, go to woodgate.com. You can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play, or find more episodes at jasonpereira.ca.